This year we're doing a spotlight on comedy. We want to pay homage to the Jewish comedians who have had an impact on American humor. And tonight we're starting with a romantic comedy called Putzel.
Hi, Putzel.
Hey, Putzel, how you doing?
Hey, guys, how you doing?
Putzel, what is wrong with you?
Putzel!
What is a putzel?
A little putz?
Putzel is a bittersweet romantic comedy. It's a little bit of a fable about a boy who grew up in a small town that just happens to be the Upper West Side of Manhattan. So, you know, small town in the middle of the big city.
Bear down the prison guard, slip through the rusty bars, cast the chains from your arms.
It is sort of a universal story, you know, and it's not just a Jewish story in a bagel shop. It's a universal story about a boy and a girl, and a boy who kind of needs to grow up.
Eat away in a stolen car, turn to a stranger, take his hand, then you'll understand.
There are two types of people in this world. Those who the sun shines on and those who sell locks.
I believe that it's important to have a Jewish film festival because it's our responsibility to create a cultural event in Los Angeles that offers films that have never been seen before. We have one tomorrow called Lunch, which features all the TV writers from back in the 60s and 70s.
I was invited by Seaman Jacobs, the late Cy Jacobs. He had organized a group of people who met on a Wednesday afternoon. The luncheons were usually rather hysterical. Some of it could never be repeated in polite company, but then at one point we never really assumed that we were polite company.
We are beginning to understand that there is one generation of artists that has gone from Armed Forces Radio, my father started, and a couple of the other men, to radio, to television. They went to film.
Yeah, it's good, you know. When you get to be 86, 87, 88, 89, you appreciate going to meet the fellas.
I think it's a story of friendship, and I think it's a story of a collective that keeps people together. You know, the need for humor and the need for joy in our lives as we get older. I think there's something very unique to this group.
Why are so many comedians Jewish?
Are they?
Well, it seems that I've heard that.
Wait a minute. You know, you're right. You know, to me, it's very tied together. The text, the spirit, the faith. These are all comedy principles as well. It's not an accident.
If I meet the filmmakers and it's a great film, I could say Mazel Tov, that's like congratulations, like job well done. And I know Tov Ma'od, that means very good. And when I say Mazel Tov, they could say Toda Rabbah, that means thank you.
Closing night, we're showing a world premiere of a film called When Comedy Went to School, which is about the Jewish comedians who all started in the Catskills.
The Catskill Hotels were the setting for the most important era in American humor. A time when a vacation meant a trip to the mountains.
The Catskills was the breeding ground for the stand-up comic.
This is my first Jewish film festival. I'm very excited. This is going to be good. I feel like my bar mitzvah is kind of happening all over again.
As I have not been to this one before, I'm anxious to see the films and see exactly, how they pick them. It'll be interesting to see what they do choose.
We have a couple of programs that focus on, as we call them, Jewish icons. And one of them is Neil Diamond.
He's the shy boy from Brooklyn who transformed himself into a superstar. The frog who turned into a king on stage.
It took him from being this very popular singer-songwriter to being the Jewish Elvis.
A magnetic performer with a special understanding with the ladies.
And I actually saw that there was a documentary about Neil Diamond coming up on the list of things. God, I am a huge Neil Diamond fan, so I'll have to come to that.
This is the story of Neil Diamond, Solitary Man.
And we have a fascinating documentary about Johnny Cash, who was not Jewish, but his manager, who he had a 35-year relationship with, was.
I brought Johnny in to help publicize the restaurant in 1958, and we hit it off.
Saul said I should be aiming at big places in big cities.
Growing up, I only saw my father a couple of weeks at a time. Then he would be gone again, on tour with Johnny.
I fell into a burning ring of fire.
I think it's important to look at the diverse experience of Jewish life in America, Jewish life around the world. I think it's important to have films that, a place for films that are about the history of Jews, but also about culturally and religiously what they're about. And I mean, there's so much diversity to us.
I think the one unifying element for all of us is film.
It's great to have a circuit like this that we can be on and show them and really be appreciated with audiences that really understand where we're coming from.
Political, social, comedic. It's very unique.